Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Unacademy, where you can crack all NEET PG exams with us, with our top educators, quality content, and have a great learning experience. So, guys, let's crack NEET PG. A little about me. I'm Dr. Sasha Menin Remedies. I've done my MBBS from Father Muller Medical College, Mangalore, MD in anesthesia from Father Muller Medical College, Mangalore. I have two publications and one paper presentation uh, in the field of anesthesia, and I've been working and teaching in Bangalore for the past 2.5 years. Now, I will be dealing with airway devices. That is today's topic, and we'll take it in. We have taken already two parts. We'll revise those two parts, and I'll continue with the third part. So, guys, let's crack NEET PG with one of India's largest online learning platform, where you can get plus subscription and access to unlimited live and recorded courses uh, from India's best educators. So, guys, hurry, get your subscription. So, what will you get out of an academy? So, basically, we have daily life classes. And so basically, when you go to a coaching institute, what happens in a coaching institute? In a coaching institute, you need to get ready, get up, get dressed, and go to the coaching institute, get a proper place. And your educator also might not be able to clear all your doubts because they have a stipulated amount of time in which they have to complete their syllabus. It's difficult for them too, right? uh, so it's difficult to do all that. So the educator might not always be able to clear your doubts, but with Unacademy you can chat with your educator, engage in discussions, and clear your doubts and answer posts all while the class is going on. We have structured courses, so the Unacademy educators research about the course, about your whatever is needed, and they whatever is needed for your class they prepare based on that. Then we also conduct live quizzes and tests which will help you all evaluate your performance. And 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 uh, you know and so we do a few topics, and then we conduct tests so that you all can evaluate your performance. Then there is unlimited access, so one subscription gets you access to all our live and recorded courses, and you can watch from the comfort of any device. So while you're sitting at home, while you're chilled out, wherever you are, whether you're traveling or whatever, you can watch from the comfort of any of your devices. These are some of uh, our top educators: and Dr. Nikita Nanwani, Dr. Mohammad Azam, Dr. Divish Mishra, and Dr. Preeti Sharma. Dr. Nikita Nanwani is an EPG mentor for radiology and also on mnemonics for almost all subjects. Mnemonics are very interesting for those of you who it helps. Even making your own mnemonics can be very beneficial. These are the topics that you all have to cover as these are the topics that you all have to cover. And I know there are a lot of subjects. It's difficult and it's not so easy, but we are here to help you all do that. These are various courses under the various subjects that you need to cover. And of course, topics like psychiatry, radiology, anesthesia, etc. um, uh, dermatology, when dermatology, etc. You all didn't have to study in detail during undergrad, right? Even over here, there are 11 marks allotted, but the thing is, it's not like undergrad where you didn't have to study in detail but still you could manage. It doesn't work like that, right? So here you need to go little into detail into these subjects. If you go through these subjects, revise a little, these 11 marks are yours. Because like in undergrad, how you didn't have to go into detail, even over here, while preparing your questions, they don't go into that much detail. Okay, so there will be, whereas your anatomy, physiology and all are allotted 44 marks each, so they go in way more detail into those subjects, so they can ask you anything from anywhere in those subjects. Whereas your anesthesia, psychiatry, radiology, dermat, if you all cover your, go through the syllabus, cover it, it will be very easy, 11 marks per subject for you all. Now these are some of our ongoing courses on our platform. Course on neurophysiology, GI surgery, cardiovascular thoracic surgery, pathophysiology, pathology, respiratory system, and course on larynx. Now coming to the subscription part of it, as you can see on the screen, there are various types of 5 types of subscription. Those of y'all who are giving NEET PG this year, the 6-month subscription should suffice. For the rest of y'all, I would recommend the 12 and the 24-month subscription. So the 12 and the 24-month subscriptions are quite beneficial, I would say. So it gives you time to prepare, and it gives you time to realize what subjects you all want, what subjects you all like, what maybe you all can do well. It that 12 months when you're studying, you can actually maybe what you've decided on, maybe you won't want that subject anymore, maybe you'll want another subject. You all will be doing this for the rest of your life, so it's important that you all like what you all do. So it actually helps. It helped me. Okay, then it's more economical because it's a one-time subscription. So after 6 months, if you don't clear, if you don't like the subject that you get and you want to give the exam again, etc., whatever, many various reasons are there, you'll have to pay the 20,000 again. But here you have the buffer period, right? So that's how it is helpful. And there's nothing wrong in dropping, nothing wrong in there is nothing wrong in I have another. There's nothing wrong in dropping a year and uh, trying to go forward. Yeah, nobody's going to ask you how long you took to clear the exam, etc. So this is my code, SASHA. 10% discount you will get if you use my code. So as you can see here, you will get a, if it applies, the discount applies for all 5 parts. Even over here, the 24-month, you will get a discount if you use my code, so you'll get a 10% discount. So as you can see here, the discounted prices if you use my code. Now we'll begin with the topic. Yeah, so the topic, so briefly, supraglottic airway devices, they basically lie above the laryngeal inlet. Infraglottic airway devices lie below the laryngeal inlet in the trachea. We'll revise this at the end, because this, after dealing with all the airway devices, this will be easy for you all to understand. So supraglottic airway devices, they facilitate oxygenation and ventilation, avoiding tracheal endotracheal intubation. They are a bridge between bag mask ventilation and endotracheal intubation, and very useful when you cannot intubate and cannot ventilate the patient. So bridge between a failed intubation and a surgical airway also. And now supraglottic airway devices, Dr. Archie Brain is credited with the invention of the development of the laryngeal mask airway. The evolution is from the first generation, second generation to third generation. First generation are simple airway tubes which sit above the vocal cords. Second generation, these airway tubes have drainage tubes, and your third generation, they are cuffless. The first and second generation have cuffs except the eye gel. Third generation, they are cuffless, and they have two drain tubes and a small bowl. Okay, that is like your Basca mask. So classification of the supraglottic airway devices. So they are classified as cuffed perilaryngeal seals. That is, they sit above in the perilaryngeal area above the vocal cords. All LMAs are perilaryngeal sealers. Cuffed pharyngeal sealers. These tubes sit in the pharynx below, at the level, they even go up to the level of the esophagus, like your combi tube, king's laryngeal tube, cobra perilaryngeal airway. Then cuffless pre-shaped sealers with esophageal sealing, that is Basca mask and eye gel, and without esophageal sealing is your slipper and AQ. So the laryngeal mask airway, like your classic ProSeal, LMA Supreme, LMA Fast Track, they come under one category. So classic LMA, as you can see, it has the aperture bars that are there around the cuff is basically for, I'm not going to go into this, we've already gone through twice, so I won't be going into much detail. So it has, these are the parts. Then this is the method of insertion. It should be held like a pen and inserted along the hard palate with the dominant hand and pushed inside. Once it is inside, it till resistance is felt, then with the other hand, the tube should be held and the finger can be removed, right? And then the seal should be inflated and ventilation checked. Then the classic LMA, advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are there's increased speed and ease of placement, improved hemodynamic stability, reduced anesthetic requirements, less coughing, sore throat can be done by inexperienced personnel, but it is not recommended to be tried by inexperienced personnel. Then disadvantages are, main disadvantage is the risk of aspiration, suctioning is not possible, and also the tip may get folded, which can cause obstruction, and an inadequate seal may form. This is the ProSeal LMA. It has a 15 mm connector, a drain tube, integrated bite block, airway tube. It has a cuff, internal drain tube, a manual vent, inflation balloon, and a drain tube orifice. So this is the difference between the modification over the classic LMA was it has a larger deep bowl and no aperture bars. So it is a dorsal extension of the cuff is there. So it has a larger deep bowl with the dorsal extension of the cuff. So the dorsal extension of the cuff basically prevents the aperture bars are meant for prevention of the epiglottis from falling over the vocal cords. So this larger bowl and dorsal extension of the cuff also helps in this prevention of epiglottis falling over the vocal cords. Then the gastric tube runs parallel to the airway. The gastric drainage tube, it runs parallel to the airway and it ends over the esophagus. Through that, another suction tube can be passed and suctioning can be done, and hence it is possible. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So bite block, it has an integral bite block also as compared to the classic LMA. These are the various sizes of the LMA ProSeal. Now this is your LMA ProSeal. It sits similar to the LMA classic LMA. Now the classic LMA versus ProSeal LMA. Advantages are separate gastric tube port, bougie guided insertion of endotracheal tube, and dorsal cuff provides better seal and higher sealing pressures. With drain tube occluded, less incidence of gastric aspiration. Bite block can be used for both spontaneous and controlled ventilation. So classic LMA versus Procele LMA. So there is more incidence of trauma, equivocal incidence of sore throat as compared to classic LMA, slightly longer insertion time as compared to classic LMA, and less suitable as an intubation device, requires a greater depth of anesthesia for insertion. So with the Procele LMA, the sealing pressure is higher. It is 30 centimeter of water, which is the ideal sealing pressure for controlled ventilation. With the classic LMA, the ceiling pressure is only 20 centimeter of water, right? So the ceiling pressure is only 20 centimeter of water. So the ceiling pressure is only 20 centimeter of water, and so it is not adequate for, there is more risk of gastric aspiration, as the seal is not adequate for controlled ventilation, higher risk for aspiration. LMA supreme, so the modifications are, it is the modification with this is, it has a unique elliptical rigid airway tube, as you can see. So this unique elliptical rigid airway tube, this fits the anatomy of the pharynx, and it has a drain tube as well as an airway tube. It has a fixation tab which helps uh, it has a pilot balloon, a valve, and reinforced tip and molded distal cuff. So the reinforced tip help prevents folding of the epiglottis over the vocal cords. Then it has a modified cuff, the molded fins prevent falling of the epiglottis over the vocal cords. It has a reinforced tip and a molded distal cuff, right? So this is the molded distal cuff. So modifications of LMA Supreme is the fixation tab. The fixation tab basically is for for insertion as well as fixing. Airway tube is in the anatomical shape of the airway, and it has lateral grooves on either side which prevent kinking. Then drainage tube, it facilitates drainage. It runs throughout the length of the LMA. The cuff is modified and enlarged inflatable cuff, and the sealing pressure is between that of the classic LMA and the Procele LMA. Now this is your LMA fast track, also known as the intubating LMA. It comes with its own endotracheal tube, the 15 mm and a 15 mm connector. So at the 15 mm mark, the tube the tube is usually loaded on the LMA, and it should be stopped once the 15 mm mark is reached. It should not be pushed in further. This handle facilitates in removal. So this again is in the form of the anatomical shape of the larynx. There's an epiglottic elevating bar over here which prevents uh, the epiglottis from falling over the vocal cord. So the insertion is similar, and then the tube usually, the problem with this is only a 6.5 mm tube can be inserted, so that is why it's not ideal for intubations. But this can be used in emergency intubation when it's a difficult airway, and CPR is given and emergency, there is no tube available or it's difficult to intubate. This can be used. Um, so to facilitate tracheal intubation can be used as primary airway device, rescue device for failed intubation, and blind fibroscopic guided insertion. Disadvantages are any pharyngeal pathology will limit any, anything that limits mouth opening, or anything that is bad for, that limits any abnormal and airway anatomy, etc. You cannot use this, and it cannot be used for intubations in patient below 30 kg. Then expensive and prolonged use is to be avoided, and the tracheal tube may be displaced downwards or dislodged. Unsuitable for use in the MRI unit. It's not MRI compatible, and there is increased risk of sore throat and difficulty in swallowing. This is the LMA unique. It is nothing but a disposable form of the LMA classic. LMA flexible, it has a longer and a narrower tube, and it's reinforced tube by metallic rings around it. As you can see, this is basically used for head and neck surgeries, where it is difficult to gain access to the head, and so this can be used. Only thing is, it is very long and can come in the way. LMA fast track is nothing but the LMA track. I'm sorry, is nothing but the LMA fast track with a camera. Hence, you can see where you are placing the LMA. Now, King's laryngotracheal tube. It has a color-coded connector which determines the size of the laryngeal tube. It can be used for both adults and pediatrics. It has a length marker. Uh, it has four holes, two on either side of the tube. It has a proximal cuff that sits in the nasopharynx, and it has a distal cuff which seals the esophageal inlet and prevents gastric insufflation. So it is it's easy insertion. It just has to be passed into the mouth of the patient. 95% of the times it will go and sit over the esophagus. Esophageal cuff can be inflated, as you can see here. Oropharyngeal cuff is also inflated. It prevents, if this is at the level of the tongue, it prevents the and from the ventilating ports, air will go into the trachea as the esophagus is sealed. So minimal mouth opening is required. High ventilation pressures can be used and can be used to intubate the trachea. Now coming to the combi tube. The combi tube has a distal cuff and a pharyngeal cuff. The pharyngeal cuff is color coded to blue, and it should always be inflated first. So this is the pharyngeal cuff. It is blue. Should always be inflated first. This is the esophageal. This is basically used for cardiopulmonary resuscitation in emergency cases, and uh, yeah, so it is used in cardiopulmonary emergency resuscitation cases. It has eight pharyngeal perforations, four on either side. Then it has two cuffs, one for the distal lumen, one for the proximal lumen, and they run parallel together and end in an open distal end, which opens into the trachea or the esophagus. So 95% of the times, again, when intubated, this goes and sits in the. So it is a blind insertion airway device, double lumen airway device designed for emergency ventilation of a patient. Ventilation can be achieved with either tracheal or esophageal placement of the tube. So as you can see, there are 8 ports. This is the exit lumen. So the proximal cuff lumen is blue colored and sealed at the end and contains fenestrations that I've already told you. 95% of the time in the esophagus. So as you can see, it is just pushed in. This double black marking should be at the level of the incisors. That's when you need to stop. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's when you need to stop pushing the tube in, and then all you got to do is first inflate the pharyngeal cuff. Both the cuffs will inflate together. It is inflated to 60 centimeter of water. If Then once the cuff is inflated, try to ventilate through the blue port first. If you're able to ventilate through the blue port, that means it is in the esophagus. The esophagus is anyways blocked. No air will go into the esophagus. From the pharyngeal vents it will enter the trachea. However, if it is in the trachea, you will not be able to ventilate through the pharyngeal port. You will find some resistance. That's when you should ventilate through the other port, as it will that's when it will ventilate into the trachea from the tracheal port, the white one. So first the blue one is tried and then the white one. Blind insertion, no need for light laryngoscope or direct visualization, effective ventilation and oxygenation with moderate protection against aspiration. Proximal pharyngeal balloon provides a better air seal. Gastric contents can be aspirated through lumen 2 when the device is in the esophagus. Pediatric sizes are not available. There are only two sizes, 37 French and 41 French. It is expensive and increased chance of injury is there. And problem with latex hypersensitivity, as the pharyngeal balloon is made up of latex. So contraindications is if the patient is awake and has an intact gag reflex. Patient pediatric cases not, it cannot be used. History of ingestion of any caustic substances or any esophageal disease or any pharyngeal anatomical abnormality or history of any latex hypersensitivity are the contraindications. Now coming to today's class, now this is your eye gel. Now eye gel is a soft gel like, so it is a soft gel like cuffless. Okay, it's soft gel like cuffless supraglottic airway made up of thermoplastic elastomer. It is made up of thermoplastic elastomer. It creates a non-inflatable anatomical seal of the pharyngeal. So it creates a non-inflatable. So this is it. There is no inflation cuff. There is no cuff to inflate. It creates a non-inflatable anatomical seal of the pharyngeal, laryngeal, and perilaryngeal structures. Because of its non-inflatable seal, it avoids compression trauma that can occur with inflatable supraglottic airway devices. So there is no cuff, so there is no inflation, so there is no trauma to the perilaryngeal structures. So the design of this eye gel makes it a design of the eye gel makes the it makes it an anatomical device as a distal soft non, so it makes it, because of the shape, it is a, it makes it fits the anatomy of the larynx, and the distal soft non-inflatable cuff achieves a mirrored impression of the pharyngeal, laryngeal and perilaryngeal structures, thus positions itself over the laryngeal framework, providing a reliable perilaryngeal seal. So this, when it enters, because so it is thermoplastic elastomer, right? So once it is in the pharynx, once it warms up to the temperature within the pharynx, it forms a structure, it molds to the shape of the pharyngeal structures, and it forms a seal in the perilaryngeal area. The tip of the distal non-inflatable cuff lies in the proximal opening of the esophagus. So this lies in the proximal opening of the esophagus. Right, so this lies in the proximal opening of the esophagus, isolating the esophagus opening from the laryngeal inlet. So thus it isolates the esophagus. The proximal end of the cuff has an epiglottic rest with a ridge. So this prevents the epiglottis uh, from falling over the vocal cords. The rest prevents from falling down over the vocal cords. Uh, the rest is basically prevents the ridge. So basically the rest prevents the epiglottis from falling, and there is a ridge here too. Okay, this ridge prevents the tongue upward and outward, prevents the tongue from moving the eye gel upward and outward, right? Okay, so non-inflatable cuff, 15 connector, proximal part of the drainage tube. Second generation supraglottic airway device. Mask is made from a thermoplastic elastomer, that is styrene, ethylene, butadiene, styrene. Adapts to the patient airway anatomical seal of the pharyngeal, laryngeal and perilaryngeal structures once it adapts to the temperature of the pharynx, and it provides effective seal without a cuff. So it has a soft gel-like non-inflatable cuff designed to provide an anatomical impression to fit over the laryngeal inlet. The shape, softness and contours accurately mirrors the perilaryngeal anatomy, hence there is no cuff required. See, it mirrors the anatomy exactly. This is the esophagus and prevents any, and hence no cuff is required. uh, so a lot of compression and displacement trauma are significantly reduced and eliminated because of this. So it consists of, you've seen that elliptical buccal cavity stabilizer, which incorporates a circular airway lumen and lumen for gastric tube. So there is a gastric tube too, suctioning can be done. Size 1 iGel does not have a gastric lumen. It also has an integral built-in bite block. Okay, and there is a horizontal line. This is for depth insertion. This is only with the bigger sizes, that is 3, 4, 5. This indicates a depth insertion. If correctly inserted, the depth should coincide with this should coincide with the patient's teeth. The pediatric sizes do not have this horizontal line due to because there is a lot of variability in the length of the oropharyngeal laryngeal arch in pediatrics, right? So the firmness of the material facilitates easy insertion. Tip design prevents folding back of the tip edge. So it epiglottic rest prevents downfolding of the epiglottis. Buccal stabilizer and broad mask provide stability, reduce kinking and midline positioning. That is your bite block. This is the buccal stabilizer, and gastric channel helps to vent gastric secretions. So these are the various sizes. So it is iGel, there is size 1, which is equivalent to an ET tube size of 3, 1.54 to 2.5. So 3 is generally used for women. So size 3 is used for women. Size 4 is used in men. 4 and 5. Okay, 4 can be used in women too, slightly bigger women, but generally size 3 is used in women. So advantages of iGel are better anatomical fit, less compression trauma, less risk for injuries related to cuff hyperinflation. There is no cuff, so those compression injuries caused due to cuff hyperinflation will not be seen. Easy insertion. This reduces the time for successful insertion. So the time to insertion is reduced considerably because it is a very easy insertion. Then greater airway seal pressures and superior fiber optic views as compared to other supraglottic airway devices. So there are greater airway seal pressures and superior fiber optic views as compared to other supraglottic airway devices. So wide lumen allows for airway rescue and assisted intubation. Okay, effective. It can also be used in prone position ventilation. So iGel can be used in prone position ventilation. Airway with rescue with iGel. iGel is established in emergency airway control. Case reports are present where it has been used for airway rescue when classic LMA and ProSeal LMA have failed, because the ease of insertion is very easy. Even inserting, it just has to be pushed in. There is nothing where you have to hold it like a pen. Eye gel is just held and pushed inside. It just goes and sits it goes and sits on the perilaryngeal structures. It forms the shape of the perilaryngeal structures once it warms up to the temperature within the pharynx. It has also been used for airway rescue in prone position. Now coming to slipper. So slipper is streamlined Sleeper is nothing but streamliner of the pharyngeal airway. Streamlined liner of the pharyngeal airway. It is a cuffless pre-shaped sealer. Okay, plastic. It is uncuffed and disposable. Hollow boot shaped distal part. As you can see, this is the distal part. Anatomically, it fits the pharynx. So it is a latex free device and shaped like a slipper. So latex free, shaped like a slipper. It is cuffless pre-shaped sealer. It is shaped like a slipper. It is performed airway that is cuffless and lines the pharynx. So it lines the pharynx when in place. So it is cuffless and it lines the pharynx when it is placed. It is made of medical thermoplastic material. So it is again made of thermoplastic material. Sorry. Okay, it is made of thermoplastic material. So slipper shaped, latex free, made of thermoplastic material that is stiff enough to facilitate easy insertion. After insertion, it warms up to body temperature, it softens, improving the seal and comfort, similar to the eye gel. It has a hollow chamber similar to a boot in shape. So there is a hollow chamber. Uh, there is a toe which sits at the upper esophageal. So the toe sits at the esophageal entrance. The bridge fits in the pyriform fossa. The heel anchors to the soft palate, and large size prevents aspiration of regurgitated fluid. So okay, so finally these prevent so these bridges basically which fit in the pyriform fossa, they prevent downfolding of the these bridges prevent downfolding of epiglottis. They prevent downfolding of epiglottis. So that chamber, this chamber that you see here, this chamber, right, this hollow chamber, it has a capacity of 50 ml. This can store, so this has a capacity of 50 ml and it can store secretions and gastric contents, preventing aspiration into the airway. It is available in six adult sizes: 47, 49, 51, 53. It's not important, but there are 6 adult sizes. The number corresponds to the maximal transverse diameter of the bridge. So the size number corresponds to the diameter of the bridge. The best way of selecting the correct size of sleeper is to see the distance between the two cornua of the thyroid cartilage and selecting the size that will match the width of the bridge. So selecting the size, there are 6 sizes firstly. So the distance, based on the distance between the bridge, the sizes are decided, and size is selected by uh, distance between the two cornua of the thyroid cartilage, right? So distance between the two cornua of the thyroid cartilage, and basically the size that will closest to the bridge size can be selected. So the advantages are better sealing pressure for airway sealing pressure for positive pressure ventilation, that is mechanical ventilation, and it is cuffless. Disadvantages are it is more traumatic and occupies space up to soft palate. Now coming to the Buska mask. So Buska mask is it is a novel supraglottic airway device which is similar to the LMA. It has a non-inflatable cuff. Okay, so it is a third generation supraglottic airway device, smaller bowl compared to the other LMAs, less risk of including the esophageal opening, and adjustable tab in shaft to increase angulation and allows easy negotiation of the oropharyngeal curve. So as you can see, it adjustable tab in the shaft to allow to increase angulation. Double gastric channel, one channel is open to air, so less chance of esophageal wall impinging the gastric opening during suctioning. So it has this is your Buska mask. So the Buska mask, the cuff is continuous. So the cuff is basically continuous with the channel. The cuff, it gets inflated with positive pressure ventilation, that is basically your mechanical ventilation. So based on what you set on the mechanical ventilation, the cuff gets inflated. This reduces the chance of gastric too much air going into the into the stomach, and aspiration. The Buska mask has an opening that sits in the upper esophagus, uh, and the dorsal surface of the cuff is made in a way that it directs any oropharyngeal secretions, uh, such as secretion directs any oropharyngeal contents like secretions towards a side channel to which suction can be attached. So it basically has an esophageal opening, and the dorsal surface of the cuff is made, so it is made in such a way the dorsal surface that it directs secretions over here so that it can be aspirated out. It comes with an elbow connector for suctioning. So this is the suction angle piece. So the secretions collect here so that they can be suctioned. The tube also has an inbuilt bite block, reducing. So it has an inbuilt bite block, thus reducing the risk of patient biting the airway. So there is a hand tab. This is the hand tab which allows manipulation. Um, at the proximal end, there are loops which help in fixation of the mask. Okay, so there are various modifications, and it comes in 4 sizes that have color coded. So again, these are color coded connectors like the King's laryngeal tube. So supraglottic guided endotracheal intubation and fiber optic laryngoscopy can be done with LMA Fast Track, LMA ProSeal, LMA Supreme, iGel, and Slipper. Now coming to the infraglottic airway devices. that is basically your endotracheal tubes and fiber optic devices. And infraglottic access, uh, infraglottic access is through cricothyroidotomy, tracheostomy, and retrograde intubation. These are the surgical interventions, and these are your direct interventions. Now coming to the endotracheal tubes. So your endotracheal tubes, as you can see, they have a Murphy's eye, a one-way valve, a cuff. Yeah, so they have so it is a transparent tube. The standard tube is a transparent tube with a performed curve. It is a PVC tube, transparent PVC tube with a performed curve made of polyvinyl chloride. So it is made of polyvinyl chloride and has a performed curve. Recording. Recording. It has a performed curve, and it has two ends, a patient end. So this is the patient end, and this is the this is the patient end. This is the machine end. Okay. uh, so this gets attached to the breathing circuit. The tube may be shortened at this end if required, so it can be cut and the connector can be attached there if needed. A typical endotracheal tube is shaped like the arc of a circle with a radius of curvature of 140 plus or minus 20 millimeter. This is the radius of curvature. Okay. And the patient end is cut obliquely and is called the bevel. So this end is known as the bevel. It is cut obliquely, known as the bevel, which makes the bevel, the angle that the bevel makes with the longitudinal axis of the tube is called the angle of the bevel, and this is around 38 plus or minus 10 degree. The bevel faces to the left and facilitates visualization of the chords as the tube is being inserted from the right side of the mouth. So this faces towards the left and enables visualization of the chords. On the opposite side of the bevel is a hole in the wall of the tube. Right, so opposite side of the bevel is the Murphy's eye, which is a hole in the wall of the tube. It provides an alternative pathway for gas flow should the bevel get occluded. So if the bevel end gets occluded, there can be gas flow through the Murphy's tube. The tracheal tube standard specifies that the area of the Murphy's eye must not be, so the area of the Murphy's eye must not be less than 80% of the cross-sectional area of the tube lumen. So the area of this must not be less than 80%. It should be at least 80% of the cross-sectional area of the tube lumen. The tracheal tubes which lack the Murphy's eye are known as Megill-tipped endotracheal tubes. The tip of the tube is smooth and atraumatic, as there is no Murphy's eye. The cuff is placed closer to the tip of the tube. Here the cuff is much further away from the tip of the tube so that there is no occlusion, right? There is a radio opaque line. So this blue line is the radio opaque line along the entire length of the tube, which helps determine the correct positioning of the tube with an X-ray. The length of the tube has transverse black markings at each centimeter. along the outer curvature, which indicates the distance from the tip of the tube. A black transverse depth marker, which assists proper placement of the tube, is present on certain tubes. Then approximately 3 centimeter proximal to the cuff. Okay. So these tubes are marked with internal diameter and outer diameter. So internal diameter as well as outer diameter. See here. This is the internal diameter and they also have outer diameter. So on the packaging, the internal diameter as well as the outer diameter will be marked, uh, whether for oral or nasal use, right? And depending on single use or not single use, everything will be marked on the packaging. So as you can see, machine end is the universal connector. Tracheal end is an atraumatic bevel tip, and this is the opposite to this will be the Murphy's eye tip endotracheal tube. So they can be the types of endotracheal tube. They can be cuffed, uncuffed, or double lumen tubes. So markings on the endotracheal tube, it can be inner diameter, outer diameter, type of tube. It can be either oral or nasal, implant tested or not tested, single use, name of the manufacturer, markings for length of insertion, and indication for position of the vocal cord. So these are the various markings that will be seen on the endotracheal tube. So requirements of an ideal endotracheal tube: smoothness of outer surface to avoid damage to mucosa, smooth and non-wettable inner surface, non-inflammable, transparent, easily sterilizable, and non-kinkable. It should be sufficiently strong to allow thin wall framework, thermoplastic to conform the anatomic conform to the anatomic structures of the airway, should be non-reactive with lubricants or anesthetic agents, latex free, and non-injurious catheter tip. Now the endotracheal tube cuff. The cuff is an inflatable sleeve near the patient end of the endotracheal tube. Okay. The cuff material should be strong and tear resistant but thin, soft and pliable. Cuffs are usually made of the same material as the endotracheal tube, right? So it is near the patient end. The ASTM specifies that the maximum distance of the cuff from the tip of the tube, the ASTM standard specifies the maximum distance of the cuff from the endotracheal tube. Uh, it must not encroach on the Murphy's eye. The inflating system of the cuff includes an internal built in the wall of the tube inflation tube and external inflation tube, that is basically the blue pilot balloon near the midpoint of the inflation tube or adjacent to the one-way valve. So it provides a seal between the tube and the tracheal wall to prevent aspiration of gastric contents. It prevents air leaks. It prevents any air leaks, serves to center the tube in the trachea, and can be high volume, low pressure system or low volume, high pressure system. So we prefer a high volume, low pressure system. Soft cuff, high volume. So the soft cuff is a high volume, low pressure system. So it exerts low and equal lateral tracheal pressures and minimizes tracheal injury. This is what we use, a high volume, low pressure system. So it conforms the shape of the trachea. This is a centrally positioned tube. So cuff seal around the trachea. Hard cuff is a low volume and exerts a high pressure, right? So it can cause a lot of tracheal injury. So it is an asymmetric inflation and causes cuff herniation. So as you can see, there can be tracheal erosion, air leaks. So tube displacement to side increases the risk of tracheal injury. ET tube cuff. Normal recommended cuff pressure is 20 to 30 centimeter of water. This is important. Damage to the tracheal mucosa occurs at more than 30 centimeter water. That is why your ProSeal LMA has a cuff pressure of 30 centimeter water, and it can be used for basically for mechanical ventilation. So total obstruction of the tracheal blood flow can occur at more than 50 centimeter of water. This can lead to ischemia. Usual 10 ml of air is sufficient to adequately inflate the cuff. Now, factors affecting cuff pressure. Any increase in the cuff pressure is seen with positive pressure ventilation, with nitrous oxide because of the second gas effect, bronchoconstriction, laryngeal spasm, and edema. Decrease in cuff pressure with sedation, neuromuscular blockade, reduced core temperature, hypothermia, time, and changes in body position. So the guidelines to determine the size of the endotracheal tube. Ideal tube in an average adult male is 8.5 millimeter internal diameter. Ideal tube in an adult female is 7.5 millimeter internal diameter. Age is recognized as the most reliable indicator of the appropriate endotracheal tube size for children. So based on age, so 3 months and less is 3 mm internal diameter, 3 to 9 months is 3 to 5 mm internal diameter, 3 to 9 months, sorry. Older than 1 year, internal diameter in mm, 16 plus age in years divided by 4. So this is a standard formula that is used, 16 plus age in years divided by 4, and the child is older than 1 year. Then these are the other formulas. So if the child is younger than 6 years, 3.5 plus age in years by 3. Older than 6 years, 4.5 plus age in years by 4 will give the internal diameter of the tube in mm. So choosing a tube whose external diameter is the same width as the patient's distal end of the little finger. So this distal end of the little finger, the distal end of the tube, the external diameter of the distal end of the tube is connected, and approximately it can be done. This is only used for basically for children. So principles of endotracheal tube. Internal diameter, smaller tubes offer greater resistance, so that is why a smaller tube should not, so you cannot put a 6.5 centimeter tube in an adult male because there will be a lot of resistance. That is why we use 8.5. Length, increase in length again will increase airway resistance. Abrupt changes in the diameter and direction increases the resistance. So the radio opaque blue line, like I said, is to so the radio opaque blue line is to assist with identification on X-ray. This is your Murphy's eye. So even if the primary opening gets occluded in some way, ventilation will still occur through this. So the left facing bevel. So when there is no bevel, this is how it will enter, and with the bevel tip, this is how the tube will enter. So the bevel tip improves the view of the vocal cords during laryngoscopy. It offers a narrow point with which to part the vocal cord. So this is offering a broader point. This offers a narrow point with which to part the vocal cords. It increases the diameter of primary opening, making it less likely that it will be occluded by secretion. So it increases the diameter of the primary opening, making it less likely to be occluded by secretions. Now coming to suction catheters. These are the suction catheters are color coded according to their size, and as you can see, it's this is a connector which connects it to the main vacuum tubing, which connects to the vacuum on the main vacuum on the wall. They have large openings at the tip. So large openings at the tip, and this is a thumb control valve which controls the secretions. So ideal suction catheter size is measured in French, 3.14 size in mm, and diameter of the catheter should be less than half the inner diameter of tube in infant. So 6 to 8 French, 2 to 6 years old is a 10 French. So it is measured in French. French by 3.14 gives the size in mm. Diameter of the catheter should be half the inner diameter of the tube in infants. So size 10 ET tube corresponds to a 14 French, size 8 ET tube to a 12 French, and size 6 ET tube to a 10 French approximately. Ideal suction pressures in adults, it should be 10 to 120 millimeter of mercury, children 80 to 100, and in infants 60 to 80. So 60 to 80, 80 to 100, 100 to 120. The hazards of suctioning, it can cause trauma, hypoxia and arrhythmias because ventilation is interrupted during suctioning, vagal stimulation and hence bradycardia, atelectasis if there is any damage to the lung, infection if the sterility is not maintained, bronchospasm because of irritation, raised ICP because the patient can gag during suctioning and the pressure can go up, and it stimulates the gag reflex. So guys, that is for today's class. We will continue the rest in our next class by revising for this class. This is a long topic and it covers many topics. So I will continue the rest in next class. Do use my code SASHA to subscribe and avail your 10% discount. So do use my code SASHA to subscribe and avail your 10% discount. Thanks guys. See you all in the next class.